This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is now available on Amazon. A link to the book will be placed in the description below. BLX video. I'm going to go over the U.S. amateur radio bands chart. This is the chart that the ARRL offers, and this is free. You can download this online. Just do a Google search for it. It'll pop up. I'm going to explain what this chart actually means. If you pay attention to my mouse right here, you'll see that you have 5 classes of amateur radio licenses. You have novice, technician, general, advanced, and amateur extra. We're not going to talk about the novice or the advanced because they don't give that class anymore. There will never be any new novice or advanced class amateur radio operators in the U.S. They are done. They are obsolete. There are a few out there. I know several advanced, and I know a handful of novice class licensees. But they don't do this anymore. The reason they don't do this anymore is they have simplified it, and it is now just 3 classes of license that is being offered by the FCC, by the ARRL, VECs. Well, it's really FCCs. I mean, it's just the FCC rules. I'm kind of glad they simplified it, to be honest with you. But anyway, we're going to start here, and I'm going to simplify this real quick for you. Everything in this column from here at 6 meters all the way down, and all this stuff listed down here. That's 6 meters, 2 meters, 1.25 meters, which is 220, 70 centimeters, which is 420 to 450 megahertz, 33 centimeters, which is 902 to 928 megahertz, 23 centimeters, which is 1240 to 1300 megahertz, and all the microwave bands down here that are listed, which is 2300 to 2310, 2390 to 2450. You know, all this here is available to technician class licensees. Once you get your first ham radio license, your first license is a technician class license. You are legal for all of this from here down. When you get up to 10 meters, this is your introduction into HF. And right now, 10 meters is open. I was just I didn't work them, but I was just listening to Israel on 10 meters, and all I have is a dipole up in the air, and it's not very high. So 100 watts modest equipment, you can work the world on 10 meters. I plan to this weekend during the CQ WPX contest. If some of y'all have your out-of-band CB radios, like your Rangers or whatever, then they'll go sideband. They're 10-meter radios. That and your standard CB antenna that you've been using at your house. You're a technician class operator now. If you're a brand new technician class operator, though I do recommend getting better equipment, test it out, make sure your signal's clean. You're legal on sideband to go from 28.3 to 28.5 megahertz. And that's upper sideband. You're legal to use digital modes from 28.0 to 28.3. You see how the band plan is cut up here. It's very important to pay attention to how this band plan is set up. Now, let's assume that you are a brand new general and you have not operated HF before. Hey, we were all there at one point or another. This is where your band plan is going to come in handy. This yellow area is sideband phone. This is what technician class is allowed. General, on the other hand, is allowed phone and image all over 10 meters, from 28.3 to 29.7, and from 28.0 to 28.3. Now, here's something interesting. Somewhere in this area here, 29.6, like 29.6, 29.620, 29.640, 29.660, and 29.680, there's FM repeaters. Technician class operators, you are not legal to transmit on a 10-meter repeater because they transmit in FM and it's out of your band plan. General and extra, you're good. All right. Now I'm going to be focusing on the general class. General class has all of the work bands. Work bands are 30 meters, which 30 meters is data only. 17 meters, which is data from digital from 18.068 to 18.110, and phone from 18.110 to 18.168. Phone is voice, by the way. And 12 meters from 24.890 to 24.930, digital. And from 24.930 to 24.990, phone. Same privileges as extra class on those bands. Same with 160. 160 meters is wide open to data or phone anywhere. It doesn't matter. But we are secondary operators in the band. To radio location operations between 1.9 and 2 megs. 630 meters. I've never used it. I don't have anything that'll go that low. But we do have phone and data privileges, and we only have 7 kilohertz of bandwidth here, and we're limited to 5 watts effective radiated power. On 2200 meters, again, I've never gone that low. Phone and data, 1 watt limited. And it looks like we have about 2.1 kilohertz there. It's wide enough for maybe one phone signal, one phone QSO. I don't know what you're going to do with that. I've never played with propagation of it. If you're into it, please let me know. Again, I've never used 2,200 meters. All right, let's go to 80 meters. General. You are allowed from 3,800 to 4 megs phone, and 3525 kilohertz to 3600 kilohertz of data, digital, CW, whatever. If you'll notice down here, it says NT. Technician class operators are allowed to use up to 200 watts of CW only. Let me go back to the 10 meters and bring it back up here for a minute, because I failed to mention this. Novice and technician class licensees are allowed maximum 200 watts. Maximum 200 watts on 10 meters. So don't get your Sweet 16 amplifier that you've had hooked up to your illegal CB and decide that you want to get on 10 meters and run a kilowatt. You're not legal to do that. You need to upgrade to general, and then you're limited to 1,500 watts like everybody else. 60 meters I've never used, but it is open to extra advanced and general at 100 watts, and you have channels that are 2.8 kilohertz wide. It's wide enough for a phone signal. That's about it. But you only have 100 watts ERP. $40 meters. I'm not sure what this up here at the top is. It says ITU 1 and 3. I know there are some countries, and this will throw a lot of people off. In the continental U.S., even as an extra class licensee, our phone band is 7125 and nothing below. However, in other ITU regions, which we're in ITU region 2, but in ITU regions 1 and 3, they are allowed to operate phone from 7075 to 7100. We can't, so if you hear somebody talking there, and you hear them working, if they're trying to work an American station, more than likely they're working split, which means they're listening up here where we can talk and transmitting where they're able to talk and we're not. Perfectly legal. Generals, you're allowed from 7175 to 7300 megahertz of the 40 meter phone band. Digital, you're allowed from 7.025 to 7125. Novice and technician, which is a technician, this is CW only, Morse code only, from 7025 to 7125. $20 meters. Generals, you are allowed 14.225 to 14.350 on phone, and 14.025 to 14.150 on CW and digital modes. I've actually got a funny story about this. This happened to me, I don't know, about 12 years ago. I had a Hallicrafters SR-150. That radio was about 20 years, is over 20 years older than I am. It was made, they made them from 1961 to 1963. I kicked myself for getting rid of it. I wish I'd have kept it. But apparently, I worked somebody south of 14.225. And I actually got an OO card about it. It was actually pretty funny. But be careful with these modern rigs. You really ain't got no excuse. Be careful. Especially with the big contest coming up this weekend. If some of you generals want to try to get DXCC in a weekend, it's very possible this weekend, especially as good as the bands are in shape. All right, let's go to 15, my favorite band. Generals, 21.275 to 21.450. Phone. Digital from 21.025 to 21.200. Technicians, Morse code only from 21.025 to 21.200. Y'all keep that in mind. Now, there is something that I do need to mention here. This chart is a lie. This chart is misleading. And I know some of y'all just went, well, Anthony, the ARRL put this out. Are you calling the ARRL a liar? I'm saying that this chart does not take into account something for you new hams. Take 20 meters, for example, this 14.225. How wide is your single sideband signal? On average, your single sideband signal is approximately 2.4 kilohertz wide. Let's just say, for the argument, 3 kilohertz. That changes things a little bit. That means that instead of 14.225, it should say 14.228. I know some people are going to argue with me and they're going to say, well, Anthony, you're wrong because it's an upper sideband signal. It means that you shouldn't go, it shouldn't affect the lower end, but you shouldn't go past 14.347. My argument is going to be real simple. It's better to play it smart and safe than to be wrong. This is a rule that I follow even now as a 15-year extra class operator. Been a ham radio operator for 15 years. I've had my extra class license for 11. I follow this rule. I stay 3 kilohertz on phone away from the band edge. Doesn't matter. Higher or lower, upper sideband, lower sideband, AM, I don't care. AM, I stay 6 kilohertz if I was going to go AM, which I rarely do. But let's say for the moment I was going to go AM. Really, I'm going to try to stay about 10 kilohertz because AM is approximately 6 kilohertz signal. 6 kilohertz wide. I would like to stay 10 kilohertz. It gives me that cushion. You cannot say that you heard my signal transmitting outside of a legal band edge. Y'all keep this in mind. This is very, very important. I know there's a lot of people that work 71, 77, 71, 76 on lower sideband and the general class license thinking that they're legal. If I hear you below 71, 75, are you legal? No. you are not legal. It is not your center frequency. That is the lower end of the band edge. That is the floor. On the higher end, that is the roof. You may not exceed. Y'all keep this in mind. If you are studying for your license, technician, general, or extra, I recommend memorizing this band plan. It will help you out greatly in your test. A lot of these frequencies and bands are going to be on the test. I'm good with numbers, so though me knowing this was almost a gimme. But y'all need to understand what this is. Y'all need to look at this frequency chart, and y'all need to know what 2 meters is, 144 to 148 megahertz. What 6 meters is, 50.0 to 54. These are going to be questions on the test. They may pop up in your random questions coming out of the question pool. May not, but this is what the FBI would call a clue. Good luck. If you're going to get on HF with me this weekend, enjoy the contest. If you're new ham, welcome to the hobby. You have any questions? Feel free to give me a call. Area code 904-860-2502. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. 73 W5BLX.